Okay, let me actually get the next game. By the way, there might be like some random commercials on YouTube. Yeah, so I'm gonna have like this ad thing for 5 seconds. Ah! Ah! Skip, skip, skip. Okay, skip. Yeah, here we go. We are back in the SK Planet Pro League match between KT Rolster and SKT T1. Looks like the next match is going to be Action versus Bisu. Oh man, poor Action. It's going to be another ZVP here, and oh Action, oh man. I think we're going to go 2-0 here for SKT. Oh dearie me. Oh, I forgot to change the score. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't understand my pain, Bisu is a monster in PvZ. He is, of course, the revolutionist, changing PvZ as we know it, with his Forge Fast Expand into SairDT shenanigans. Anyway, we're going to be on, looks like Jade. Actually going to be the Yellow Zerg in the bottom left, Bisu the Red Protoss in the bottom right. But you know, Action used to be like one of my, well, not one of my favorite players, but I used to like him a lot because he has really good Defiler usage in the late game, and he showed us some really nice late game ZVT against Flash. But I mean, he's since kind of fallen off a little bit. Recently lost to Firebad Hero in the actually in the game 5 between KT Rolster and Air Force Ace. Action lost the deciding game to FBH. Even though he did get to high play, did get to use the fathers, but FBH just rolled him over. So against someone of Bisu's caliber, I mean, Bisu, one of the top players in the professional scene right now. And looks like he's going to be scouting in the wrong direction. He's just going to go for Forge Fast Expand, I would imagine. I'm trying to think of some interesting things to say about Bisu, but he's just done like so much. He's like Protoss Bonjour. Actually, no, I shouldn't use that term. That's like such a dangerous term to use. Anyways, there's a cute little kid with Mickey Mouse ears. Was that kid like wearing makeup? It looks like he had like weird like you know, like those that powder stuff that women put on their cheeks. I don't know what that's called. It looks like he was wearing that because his cheeks were like a funny color. I don't know. I could just be crazy. I could just be natural too. I don't know. Oh, is he gonna block the hatchery, Bisu? Bisu? Oh, he's gonna block the hatchery. So that is quite annoying. There is the weird Flash, giant-headed Flash thing. That's like KT's version of Bunky. Of course, both these teams are sponsored by telecom companies, KT and SKT. Yeah, SK Telecom. I don't know what KT stands for actually. SK Telecom and KT, whatever it is. Korea Telecoms, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, when SKT got Bunky, I guess KT was just like, hey, we need our own mascot guy. So they just made a blown-up version of Flash. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, what happens when Flash retires? Actually, I think like the internet would explode or something. Could you guys imagine if like there was a Flash retirement announcement? Oh my God, TL would go crazy. But you know, I mean, you know, what if Flash retired? Like, what would they do with the giant Flash mascot? You can't keep having a Flash mascot if you don't have Flash on your team, can you? Anyways, looks like we have pretty standard stuff for both players. Forge Fast Expand versus 3 hatches at 3 bases. Looks like Bisu gonna try and get away with 1 cannon. There is Coach January, and I don't know who the dude is next there. He's got kind of a, I don't know who that is. I was gonna remark on his goatee. It's not nearly as cool as Bakri's mustache. Anyway, Probu running around in the base. Of course, Bisu, well known for never letting his scouting probe die. That's a really nice wall, by the way. My only complaint is that he's using the cybernetics core as part of it. but it looks like it only has a 1 hex gap between the gateway and the cybernetics core, so you can block that up quite easily. But you see, the problem with using your cybernetics core on the wall is it's like a trade-off. So you make a more Ling-type wall, so you're safer early game. But if the Zerg goes for like some fast lurkers or something, I mean fast lurkers are actually the main danger when you put your cybernetics core on the wall. If the Zerg goes for fast lurkers, you can just burrow lurkers outside your wall, out of range of the cannons, and they can start attacking your gateway and your forge and your core. So normally if you have a normal wall with just the gateway and the forge, you lose those buildings. I mean that's kind of an acceptable loss. But if you lose your cybernetics core to lurkers, you're actually in a really rough spot because the unit you want against lurkers is ranged dragoons. And if you lose your core, you're just not going to have those for a while. But anyway, there's no indication that Action is doing that. And it looks like the first Zealot of Bisu is actually going to force the drones of Action off his third base. He's sending some Zerglings now to help that out. And earlier the Observer did point out that the cybernetics core is spinning, and I would imagine that that is +1 air weapons for Bisu. There is a very small chance that it's some kind of weird Dragoon all-in. But look at that Zergling micro though by Action. Oh my god, doesn't lose a single Zergling. Very, very nice control there. It does take 3 shots for a Zealot to kill a Zergling when neither of them have any upgrades. So Action was just allowing a Zergling to take 2 hits and then pulling it back, and then allowing the rest of the Zerglings to do their damage. So that was actually very, very nice micro. That's actually really, really nice. I cannot emphasize enough how cool that was. Anyway, it looks like we have a 4th hatchery for Action. And Bisu just doing his thing. Got a Stargate Citadel. Nothing too fancy. Looks like the first Corsair is over at the base now, going to start killing off an Overlord. And look at this Bisu probe. The Bisu probe's still alive. Oh my god. I'm pretty sure that's the same probe. That's got to be the same probe. Look at this. The Corsair's here and the probe is still not dead. Oh my god. Oh man, see, usually what happens, usually what happens with like non-Bisu Protosses is you lose your probe, and then there's like this tiny window between when you lost your probe and when your Corsair gets to the base where you don't know what the Zerg is doing. And that's like kind of the time when you're vulnerable to different kinds of cheeses like Hydro Bust and stuff. So usually, like, you want to keep your scouting probe alive as long as possible to minimize that gap between when until your Corsair gets there. So you always know what he's doing. But Bisu just like, oh man, Bisu like the Corsair gets there, the probe's still like, oh, well you don't really need to be here, man, because I'm still scouting. Anyway, looks like some Scourge gonna fly around and see what's up. And looks like Bisu trapping a probe behind his natural minerals. That is intentional. He's going to use that to stack his Corsairs. Going to group those with the Corsairs. Looks like with not the best SimCity. Oh, look at this! Action actually going for a break here on the front. There's only 1 cannon. All of the Bisu Zealots are away from home. Oh my goodness! Now more Zealots are coming out now for Bisu, so he should be okay. And looks like his own speed loss are kind of trapped now in the back end. Oh my god! Action actually got Burrow. Action got Burrow. Action. I gotta say, I am loving Action's play this game. First that cool Zergling micro, and now he's gotten a really fast Burrow. That is not something you see very often in ZVP. Usually the only time you see Burrow like this is when the Protoss is going for Corsair Reaver, and then the Zerg will get Burrow so that he can burrow Zerglings around the map to do scouting, and then also so he can burrow Hydras and lay Hydra traps for the shuttle. But I mean, in this case, Bisu is going for mass Corsairs, but I didn't see a Robo. I don't think he's going for Corsair Reaver. But Action got Burrow anyway, and that's really cool. And it looks like these Zealots are actually going to do almost no damage, and a lot of Scourge are coming in here. Bisu, run away! It looks like he might lose 1 Corsair. No, I think he's going to be able to get away. But all the Zealots do get cleaned up, doing barely any damage. Now, they did kill a few Zerglings here. They did force Action to produce a decent number of Zerglings. But Action, I mean, he's got a fast 4th base. He's got the top left main now as his 4th. There's still 2 Zerglings burrowed in the back of Bisu's natural. I mean, Action, I'm gonna say he's actually outplaying Bisu here. This is incredible. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I mean, I'm sure if you looked at the liquid bets, it'd be like 99.9% in favor of Bisu for this match. There'd be like 1 Action fanboy who votes for Action to win this match. Actually, no, this can't be in liquid bet because they don't know you don't know the matches beforehand. Okay, never mind. That doesn't make any sense. Oh! Whoa! Huge mistake from Bisu. I don't even know if that counts as a mistake, but Action doing a great job there. Just killing so many courses. Looks like there's only 3 courses left for Bisu. Now that is not an easy move to do, because the courses obviously with their splash damage, when you have Scourge just coming in one direction like that, it is so easy for the corsairs to just slaughter them all before they get touched. I mean, that's why usually when you do Scourge against corsairs, you need to spread them out. You need to kind of do a flank on the corsairs, but Action just flies them in and just kills a million corsairs. And do know also that you can't just aim move them. Basically, Action right-clicked them past the Corsairs a little bit, and when all the Scourge were like on top of the Corsairs, then he attacked, so that they all kind of hit different Corsairs. If you just aim move them all at once, they kind of just all hit the first Corsair, and then you spend 10 Scourge on one Corsair, and it's pretty inefficient. But looks like Bisu's thinking of setting up a third here, but there's one borrowed Link denying that Nexus, and now Lings are coming in for Action as well. Do they even... Wait a minute, are they slow Lings? No, they gotta be speed Lings, right? They look a little bit slow. But Action... Sorry, Bisu rather has ranged down that hatchery. And oh no! He's running into the main! Oh my god! Oh wow, huge move by Bisu. Look at that. That is ridiculous. I don't think I've ever seen that. Bisu, he ranges down the hatchery, the SimCity hatchery with his Dragoons, and then he just runs the speedlots into the main. What a cool move by Bisu. What an amazing game from both players. That is so funny. I don't think I've seen that before. What the heck is that? What is that? That is really nice. Oh, Bisu. Bisu is still showing. He knows he knows what's up, man. He knows how to PvZ. What? Man, why have I not been doing that? That is like, and that seems so obvious too. Now that I think about it. Oh, I guess it partly is just due to the map architecture though. That kind of move I don't think it'll work on all maps. But just because on this map, I mean, that hatchery was like right next to the ramp, so it was very easy for Bisu to just break that down and run straight in. And it looks like he's going to go and do the same thing at the top left here. The Sunken's behind the SimCity. See, that SimCity with the hatchery and the Hydra Den in front helps block against early Zealot, like speedlot attacks. But once a lot of ranged Dragoons come out, it's not so good. I mean, your buildings can get ranged by those goons, and the goons won't get hit by Sunkens. But it looks like Hydra's actually... Sorry, not Hydra. Action is actually just going to ignore this and go for a counterattack with Mutas and Lings. There's only Zealots defending the third. Bisu immediately having to cancel his third. I don't know if this is the correct choice, though, because there's a lot of Corsairs still out, and it looks like Action just going to go into the main... No, he's going to... he's going to borrow. Does Bisu not have an Observer yet? This Bisu should get an Observer. Now Action now has lost 2 hatches. That's going to affect his macro a little bit. Not going to have nearly as many larvae to start making things. And he might actually lose his Hydrogen. That's pretty cheap though. That's not the biggest deal in the world. Unless he was researching something at it. I hope he wasn't. Looks like he's actually got a Queen's Nest here. Going to go up to Hive. It's actually quite funny, I remember. Oh, looks like... hold that thought! Taking one Archon hit. Link's going in. I think they're going to try and force a cancel on the Nexus. Action is making mass Links here. No, there's actually no Nexus. Oh, because the borrowed Link is still there. Oh my goodness, Bisu actually just never got an observer. He's just trying to use cannons to expand there. But yeah, in last season's finals, Action played against Bai Sun, I believe, and lost a very unfortunate game where he kind of turtled up and tried to go for a fast Hive, and Sun just busted him with these ranged goons. I mean, this is reminding me a lot of that game actually, with Bisu employing the same range goon strategy. But look at the mass Zerglings coming out. Action just running around. Now there's a lot of Zealots. The Zealots and Archons are going to do amazingly. The Dragoons not so much, just due to the damage types, the explosive damage types. The Dragoons will only do half damage to the Zerglings. But wait a minute, are those all Corsairs? Oh my god, Bisu has like 10 Corsairs. Or at least, is that something like 8 or 9 or 10 Corsairs there? That is a lot of Corsairs, just continuing the Corsair production. You know, it's interesting. Sometimes if a Protoss player suffers a huge hit to his Corsair count, as we saw earlier this game, they'll just stop making Corsairs. But it looks like Bisu continuing the Corsair production. Action doing some nice scourging, but it's not enough. Action looks like he might be in trouble here. He's got a decent number of Sunkens, but the SimCity isn't there anymore, and the Mass Lings is just not going to cut it against Zealot Archon. Oh my goodness, Action, I don't know why he has no units right now. Action, he was doing such an amazing job in this game, but Bisu is breaking through. Action is in trouble. Action is in trouble. Is Bisu too much after all? Oh my goodness, I thought Action was doing so well, but Bisu's annihilating the natural expansion here. Some Links coming in, but they can't do anything. Action's going to lose his natural, and that's going to put SKT up 2-0 once Bisu takes this game. I don't really think there's anything left. He's at 136, 140 supply against 74, almost double the supply now. There's still a random borrowed Ling, but as cool as Burrow is, Action, it's not going to save you. He's just going to try and snipe this Archon, but it's not even going to do anything. GG from Action. Bisu, Kim Tae-kyung taking the game. Oh my god, Action. That was such good play in the beginning, Action. Oh man, but Bisu's just too good. Bisu is just too good. And SKT, as expected, just dominating so far. Oh man. It's 2-0. KT needs to win now, but wait a minute. Oh, that's okay, I'm gonna play an ad first. Oop. I got a random ad. 1 sec.